What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast. I am your host, as always, Brad Baily. Want to give a shout out to everybody that came out to Brooklyn on May 19th for the Cool Table Concert Series. That shit was such a success. Shout out to Bad Seed. Shout out to the whole Six Man Entertainment. Shout out to everybody. Everybody that was in attendance, everybody involved, every fan, every artist. Shout out to y'all, man. But I want to get right into this one because this is like a very true legend of this here game, especially in the Boston, the New England area. They put hip hop on the map as far as Boston goes. In my opinion, they've been doing it forever. But this man here, he's the co-founder of the Gangstar Foundation. Let's bring up Big Shug, everybody.
Yo, what's going on?
Yo,
First,
what up, bro? What up?
I'm good. First of all, we got to have clarity because I'm not, I am the co-founder of Gangstar Foundation as well, collectively with Jay Rue and the group home,
Yes,
but
sir.
I'm a co-founder of the group, Gangstar, period. Like,
Period.
you
Period.
know what I mean? So
Got
that sometimes I even read that it says the creator of Gangstar Foundation, which that's part of it. But I
you.
mean, before even premiering everything, Gangstar was me and Guru. So, it is what it is.
No, y'all been doing it for a minute, and you've
Mhm.
been doing it for a minute. What's it, 85, I believe?
Yeah, that's when well, me and Guru and I, we started the group right about 83. Like that's when we started,
Right.
and kept rocking. And then 85, uh, about 84, we went to Atlanta on our own, trying to break a deal, get something going. And then we separated. I got incarcerated. I was incarcerated at 86, I believe it was, for a year, and he went to New York.
Mm.
And that's how he started. He met up with Premier and such. I got back out, but then I went back in. So that was him. By then, he started out on his own out there with Damo and Mike D.
Mm.
Um, at that point, and then he met Premier. So you know what I mean. So yeah, me and him set that off.
Definitely did. Definitely. Like I said, Guru's like top five to me all time. I know he's in a lot of people's top fives. Primo's in a lot of people's top fives.
Mhm.
But for real, the underground of the New England scene was y'all. For
Mhm.
real. Like you guys set that show. Even though y'all split it off and did your own thing, it was really always a Boston based sound with a New York flair in a lot of people's eyes.
So this is how that goes. So um, when me and Guru started out, it was way ahead. Like, so we talking about 83, 84, and we were actually in Atlanta at that time because he was still going to Morehouse,
Mm.
and that's when we started the thing. Then when we came back to Boston, it was still on that cutting edge, hip hop itself. We talking like now 84 or something, you know what I mean? Early 84.
Yeah, still a baby.
Yeah, we started rocking shows and doing talent shows and shit like that, different shows, and getting our feet wet with that and freestyling and all that breakdance, everything was coming into its thing right around that
Mm.
time. And then it took off after that. Like I said, unfortunately, I was away when it really caught momentum. So Premier, being from Texas, that's a different story.
Mm.
But as far as in Boston, me and Keith, Guru, we trucked it. We made that stride to try to become this great rap group. And then when we separated, that's when he got with Premier to take it to the next level in New York. And then I came back after my release, and as they ascended, started to ascend to the top, then I was there. So that's why I did so much shit from that point on. 91 on. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, it was a train that couldn't be stopped for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That sound, that mashup between all of y'all put together was definitely something refreshing in hip hop at the time, especially
Mm-hmm.
early '90s. It was so colorful and poppy, and then you know y'all Wu Tang, Mob Deep. That's
Mm-hmm.
the type of shit that really held down the East Coast. That really did.
I mean, shout out to Jay with the Damager. I believe it was yesterday. His album, The Sunrise in the East, turned 29 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So, I mean, we had, shout out to my brother. We had a lot of good times and a lot of, things we did at that time too. stuff we were doing. So, shout out to him. Shout out to that legendary piece of work and the whole shit.
For real, for real. What was it like coming up and in like the golden era? That was really the golden era of hip hop.
Well,
You
here's
know,
the
that
thing.
exciting and just like everything popping off and
Well, here's the thing. Like, so me and Guru were probably a little older than Cats. You know what I mean? So, um, when we started rapping, it was the songs we were hearing was Tila Rock. It shows, you know, of course, Grandmaster Flash and Melly Mel and all that. Then the beginning of running them, and then LL had well, I Need Love, and all this stuff was at the same time. Also with like Candy Girl and all these different songs was popping. And the thing was, but like so, we're when shit started popping, we're probably me and him might be later 20s at that time, because um, so when it started popping, man, we was riding that wave in our 30s. You see what I'm saying?
right.
It was like, yo, all these records and tours all over the world and everything, man. Of course, we were still having a great time, but coming up at that point, like when I first came to New York a year, just about after my release. So I'm going to parties, man, and Biz Markie is DJing. Kane is in there. Craig G is there. Like you would go to all these little different shit, and there was always MCs there. This is me first coming. I met Lord Finesse. He rapping in the studio, freestyle forever. Greg Nice. I meet all this is happening when I first came there. Me and Guru went on the Brooklyn Bridge and smoked the blizz. You know what I mean? Because he'll see me for a minute. It was great times. And everywhere you went, it's popping. I mean, you go to the tunnel. I went to the tunnel one night. It was Onyx, Queen Latifah, Mike Tyson, Denzel Washington, Tupac. You know what I'm saying? This is all of us in there, and everybody be, the rappers for sure knew each other and kicked it. You know what I'm saying? Tupac even that night was looking for me, but we had already made a little friendship rapport, and he was looking for me because I had just came out with FALA on Hard to Earn, and at this time we was at the tunnel this night, and when he saw me, he was smaller. Obviously, he jumped into my arms. He was like, "Yo, I knew you was gonna rap. I knew you was gonna rap." Like, you know what I mean? Because I'd be looking intimidating or whatever in the videos, but cats might have been around being like, "Yo, this dude's gonna rock." I'm telling you. So it was so dope having that relationship with him and then watching shit turn like how it did. But these are just all the parts, Going to a show, performing with Gangstar. Rakim's the headliner. Lord Finesse comes on before Gangstar. And then when he comes on, he has this dude with a hat on, and I believe a backpack. And he's like, "Yo, this is my little man, blah, blah, blah. He gonna spit whatever." And then this dude was ridiculous, and it was Big L. You know what I mean? And that's the first time I heard him rap or ever seen him or anything. So much shit was like, pure in your sight, and it was pure. You know what I mean? So, just dope shit, man. Dope time.
It definitely was pure. Yeah, that's the perfect word for it. It was pure
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't bogged down by the mainstream as much yet. Like the Chronic was just hitting. The Chronic to me is the thing that flipped hip hop in the mainstream. Once,
Mm-hmm.
once once the Chronic came out, that's when a lot of kids in Middle of America, like the Wonder Bread kids, were really latching on to hip hop. And then over the course of the years, as we've seen, it's gotten underground hip hop has gotten away from the mainstream and then back to the underground. And now there's this very much, as a lot of people would think, pollution of hip hop
Yeah.
going on.
Well, see, I look at it too. I look at it different too because I feel like Run DMC actually brought it to the mainstream, and um, um, Melly Mel Grandmaster Flash. The reason being is because there were songs that dudes made that crossed over. Like White Lines and
Right.
you know, Apache with the Flash and Mel and all these guys, and then Run DMC did that Walk This Way with Aerosmith. So that went into some houses that the homes,
Right, that was
but
always
shit wasn't going into before. So now it's like, oh shit. So now the white kids want to be Run DMC. You know what I mean? So these things later on, what they might have brought, like Chronic and that, might have brought that West Coast, you know what I'm saying, G music, hard music, brought the West Coast, crossed over and went deep. But I mean, before that, as far as rappers, today when you go to weddings or whatever, you got people and their mothers and everyone
everybody.
rapping Rappers Delight. You know what I'm saying? People do that at karaoke, Rappers Delight. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there was a lot of things that crossed over earlier before even that NWA situation. You know what I mean? So, what they did, they touched the pulse where they were saying shit that people probably wanted to say. You know what I mean? Like back then, they knew so many things going on, and as we have seen forward, so much of that shit was like it came to fruition. With murders, and we actually seen it wasn't in Cali, but we actually witnessed some cops shoot a dude in the back. Could have been Chicago or something, but he shot a dude in the back, or we could see it. Someone filmed it and put a gun next to him. This is some shit, that type of shit they was rhyming about. You know what I mean? But like you be like, yeah, but then you seen that shit too. I'm like, wow, man, so much shit. Dudes knew. And then what people want to say, fuck the police. If every policeman bad? Nah, of course not, man. You know what I mean? But still, people have that mentality. You know what I mean? And that the music and life itself, the life even more than the music, because at this time too, we're still dealing with the crack era. You know what I'm saying? And gang era and all that at the same time. So a lot of shit influenced some crazy shit, man, and crossed it over. So
Yeah, I was born in 1980, so I was like growing up through and the whole experience of the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, and then when 9/11 hit, everything changed.
It was good that you was born 1980, because right after that, by the time you was about 4 years old, that motherfucking crack era was on full blazement.
Oh yeah, I know.
That shit was like, so while you was growing up, this shit was going on, and actually, started calming itself down by the 2000s. You know what I mean? But that part of the 80s and the 90s, that little block, 85, probably 80 shit 4, to like some shit, maybe the whole decade. That shit was Smoke City. Shit was crazy. You either got smoked or you smoked. It was just a crazy time. So you came at the right time, so to speak.
Oh yeah, kind of. It definitely touched. It touched every family's life, and like not saying in different race wise. I'm saying class wise, because the class is the real issue in the United States to me. You have the upper class, and then you have the lower class. Where the lower class, and then that's in all of the neighborhoods that are considered lower class, the welfare kids, all that. That really the crack epidemic did touch all their lives, but also no matter if you were white or black growing up in these urban areas, you latched on to hip hop. That was your storytelling.
I mean, like for instance, well, I always saw it as upper class, middle class, and lower class, because middle class would be people that probably weren't um, getting out food stamps and different things, and they was working, two people working hard to just maintain, because that's the middle. The bottom is lower class is just something else. But these are just levels of shit that's going on, and in hip hop, even suburban, when it hit suburbia like that, so there was a bunch of like white kids as also that wanted to be rappers, had curly afros and shit. Like that shit was rampant, like all over the place, And their mother, I even like met white kids that was wearing wave caps. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, there wasn't no waves under there, but I mean, it just was. It's just the way the shit was. You know what I mean? So, but now like it's full board. Now hip hop is, what I'm saying, universal heavily. You know what I mean? And people embody it. We see it in comedy. We see terminology in comedy shows. We see terminology in plays. You know what I'm saying? And white households, black households,
Everywhere.
Asian, Hispanic, and more. I mean, so it's that universal, magnet now. So it is what it is.
Hip hop culture, I think, is probably the only culture that could bleed into every facet of every everyday life across the world. Really, what other culture does that?
I mean, it's crazy too because when you first would meet people that weren't related to rap music or weren't into it, so the first thing they when they found out like Guru and I or whatever would be on tour, even after the Jazz Attack while we're touring, and we were with some greats who were like, well, what do you guys rap about? Like killing and whatever. You see what I'm saying? So you would always hear that stupid shit like all the time. You know what I mean? And then it would be us as ambassadors and be kind of like telling people, like Lou Rawls. If anyone knows, you can Google him. Lou Rawls, great singer, man. I believe in the '60s or '70s, but he was on this jazz tour, and it was a big jazz show in Europe somewhere. So I see the great Lou Rawls. I go to talk to him. I had previously read in a publication that he didn't like hip hop rap music. He was like, oh, that's not music, whatever. So we they had a buffet, man. Bottom of the hotel, and we buffeting it up. I got my little food. I sit down next to Mr. Rawls, and I say, yo, so you don't like hip hop and rap or whatever? And he explains, and we're talking. And by the time I finished talking to him, he's like, yo, he said, I'm gonna go see like when you guys, where's your show gonna be? Because we'd be in different places in these festivals. And then I believe he actually probably came to the side, or whatever, and watched some of the performance. This was jazzercise, you know what I mean? But I mean, that type of shit was just, people started learning more, and then they started seeing all the different branches of the tree of rap, you know what I mean, hip hop. So, you know what I mean? It was a beautiful time too to educate that shit too, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, there was a total misconception
of
about
course,
hip hop, especially when the East Coast West Coast thing going on in the mid '90s.
right.
The mainstream media is portraying it like people are dying in the streets every single day, and there's shootouts every single day. They went
Right.
a little overboard and perpetuated it. And
Mm,
then I really feel like it took a long time to get out of that funk.
mm. I mean, for for people's perceptions, you got people that will never like hip hop, whatever.
Hmm.
But there's so much of the world that's about it. You
Right.
know what I mean? So um, maybe it didn't take as long to get out of a funk, but it just let people see basically like, hey, you know what I mean? This music's here to stay. This way of life is here to stay. Let's keep it moving, man. Let's grow. So that's all we're doing, with that, it continues to evolve and grow, you
It
know.
does. It does. You're absolutely right.
Mm.
One question I wanted to ask you: as a pioneer, as someone that was there in its infancy, did you see where hip hop would be today?
I mean, yeah, I believe so because, yeah, like I said, me and Guru, when we started out, we early 20s, so a lot of people was teens and whatever, and people that were our age would always say, excuse me, they would say that it's a fad or it ain't gonna be around. Hey, you guys do that pretty good, but I mean that's some kiddie shit or whatever. This is what we used to be hearing, like, but then when things started to pop and everybody started, checking out what we were doing, what's going on. Then when you would see people, they go, I mean, I always knew y'all was gonna make it, or you going, you know what I mean? So, I mean, but that's the battle within itself. As an artist, especially when you come from something and you're doing something that's the great unknown. You know what I'm saying? You're on an island, man. You know what I'm saying? When you're on an island by yourself, because you got to believe in you more than anyone else does. You know what I mean? So you got to believe this thing can happen. Like Guru willed the beginning of it to happen because he was like, shit, he went to college for 4 years and now he got he's graduated and he's going in the business world, but he wanted to be a rapper. So his father didn't take to that too kindly, being a chief justice,
Right.
a judge, so to speak. So he said, I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to make this happen. And actually did. That's why that's really lovely. I love that because that shit was tougher than people think. Even with his voice. Man, they like, man, his voice is whack. Like this would be New York dude because they got that different accent, whatever. But he got the world to accept that New York first. These are the words I manifest, and they accepted it, and then the rest of the world accepted it, and then here we came. So man, a lot of shit, a lot of good shit, man, a lot of good everything involved, man, to a great place, and I always felt that it could be. So it's a shame that you get some of the murders, You know what I mean? Because yeah, we had Biggie and Tupac murders, but there were others murdered as well during that time, and even now that happens as well. So that part is always, that's the down, that's the down part of the whole shit, when that happens. But it's like airplane rides. People are scared to ride airplanes because they think it's going to crash. But more cars crash than anything else. And
Right.
you don't hear, and we go long times without hearing planes crash. So that's just how people are. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Why do you think hip hop is one of the only genres of music that the violence is just so prevalent and unnecessary? Why do you think it's so? Why is it there and ingrained in the culture?
Well, sometimes people rap on where they come from, and what they've seen, what they know about. And some just know the stories and they rhyming about it. Everybody wants to be tough
Hmm.
in those kind of records because you got other records too where there's some of that in it. And I don't know, for some reason, people like to hear it. Like, I'm shooting somebody, flipping packs, you know, got a machine gun. Well, I don't know, but it's been like that for many years, and now the floss part of it, because the floss part, the jewels and all that, is still just from the boasting part
Hmm.
that it grew. So it's still, that element is still there. As far as like violent certain shit, I mean, as long as people are going to rhyme those stories, because they're still there. It's not like they disappeared. It's not like all of us live in the Garden of Eden now and everything's peace and we can eat apples and shit. You know what I mean? It still exists. The craziness exists. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be there. But man, it's so multi-dimensional, you know what I mean? With people rhyming about, life, you know, geographical type shit. Just they explanatory or deep shit. Like people rhyme about everything, life and just different things now. So it has, like I said, hip hop tree has so many branches and so much to listen to, you know, along with R&B and rock and country and such. You know what I mean? So it's there. It's there right with them. That's why they putting hip hoppers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? It has its power. Shout out to 50 years of hip hop, man. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah, August 11th, coming up fast.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up
Mm-hmm.
fast for the year. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a wild thing. Like I've as I've grown up listening to hip hop my whole life, you do take account and you sit back and you think about how many lives that have been lost in
Mm-hmm.
hip hop, and it's wild. Well, the only other thing I can equate it to is almost is wrestling, professional wrestling, the way they die so young.
Mm.
That's the only other thing, an entertainment business in this world where the artist dies at such a young age.
I mean, and it can also be similar to hip hop with wrestling because of how some of the falseness and stage stuff that happens.
Yep.
That's how it is with records. It's
Mm.
crazy embellishment. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
I never wanted to be tough until I was tough. You know what I mean? What I mean is like, the elements made me have to become what I became. You know what I mean? As far as every day in the streets and such like that. But that wasn't the choice. You know what I'm saying? I thought when I was a kid, you just could be happy Jack your whole life. Just like, yeah, I never want to fight. I never want to do nothing. But the elements and everything that was going on made me become, that person, that had to fight and deal with shit, whether it was racism, uh, um, just being black, period, and in school, peer pressures and peer fights and shit like that. So all that always been a part. You know, at one time, especially where I lived in Boston, one time, black kids dressed like this,
Mm.
and then white kids dressed like this. So then it came together like that. Now everybody dresses like each other. You know what I'm saying? And you won't have no parents saying, "Yo, why you dressing like black kids?" And stuff like, you know what I mean? It's just like everybody's the dress is universal. You know what I mean? So we all rocking the shit, and the music did that because no matter good, bad, ugly, music has always been the theme of life. You know what I mean? This hip hop is just a part of the music, which is the theme of life. You know what I mean? So when you're doing bad, you heard music. When you were doing good, you heard music. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you go to weddings, you hear music. When you go to funerals, you hear music. You know what I mean? So it's the theme of life, bro. You know? Mm-hmm.
That's why music strikes a chord so deep with people because it
Mm-hmm.
connects on all those different emotions and different levels, milestones in your life. Like you said, everywhere you go, and everyone does have their own soundtrack to their life.
Of course, man. Of
For
course.
real, for real. I want to move on to a little segment that we do around here. It's called "What's Your Issue."
Mm-hmm.
What your issue could be the tiniest little pet peeve that you have that just pisses you off and annoys you, or it could be a worldly issue that just really gets on your back. So, Big Shug, what's your issue?
I mean, to me, so I don't really put too much weight in one issue. The issue with me is just everybody, man, staying in motion and doing what you say,
Hmm.
standing on what you say, you know, and continue to proceed and grow. Like everybody doing that. Like there's so much stagnation. There's so much you know, people procrastinators. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It's a lot of that happens in life, man. If we just wake up, man, and say, yo, every day for me, every day is a new chance to do, you know, do more.
Right.
Do more than you did the day before, basically. It's that chance, that opportunity. Because with life, anything's, you know, possible is there. You know, so I just it's not really an issue. As long as people, you know, people being lazy is probably the issue then. Or not being focused is probably the issue. As far as and all that shit, people lying and all that bullshit too. Those all the same. It's like I'm good with that. You know, we can keep, you know, moving forward and like I said, grow. Motion is key word too, you know, and always be in the pursuance of elevation, man. So because as you elevate, that's when you're gonna want more, you're gonna see more, you're gonna obtain more. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, bro.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Mm, mm.
I want to ask you a question about what was your crazy experience being out in the road?
Well, there was
You've
so
been,
many
you've
crazy
been
stuff.
doing it a minute, so
I mean, there's so many crazy shit, but probably one experience was I you know, of people used to come and always freestyle. And I'm older now and I look at it and they would want to freestyle for the group, you know, and this is just this probably no, you know what? I'm gonna do this other one. So we were in Marseille, I got so many, but we were in Marseille, France. So we're doing a show, sold out as all the shows were in that tour. And and somebody broke into the bus and stole some shit. I think this was after. But we did the show. When we did the show, so there's some brothers that are running through the crowd doing the bicycle. Like you know what that is with the
mm,
bicycle
mm,
kick.
yep,
So
yep.
two dudes are holding them and they're running through the crowd. So in front of the stage is about 6 feet of clearance, right? Because these dudes, 4 or 5 brothers, man, you know, African cats, they all like, you know, and they dressed their plaid shirts like Cali and all that. You know, they think they throwing up signs, whatever. You know, this is what's going on while we're rocking. And we're like, wow, man, they cleared. Ain't nobody in front of the stage because of these fools, you know. Then they started trying to climb up on the stage. You know, we had to, you know, throw dudes off or whatever. And afterwards, man, it just all bedlam. Like we found out somebody broke in the bus. Then we saw the dude running by with the gangster jacket. Then the beef just commenced. Like we fighting locals, man, like neighborhood people. That these dudes were on some shit though, because they was like, you know, what set you claiming? Like they was Cali dudes, right? And I'm like,
Right.
yo, we in France, dog. And we fighting cats, man. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying, straight fisticuffs, you know what I'm saying? And you know, um, it got deep. It got deep, man. I was definitely cracking some skull situations, but it got deep. And then the cops came in France.
Mm.
The cops dressed like mad nice. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. We like these cops are dressed up, but yo, they try to set it on the cops too. You know what I mean? So now all of us is fighting all these people, and then in the end, you know, we came up. But then afterwards, the police in France they was asking us for pictures. They were taking pictures and shit. But it was crazy because they was coming to get peace, and these dudes was cracking them too. Like it was a big beef. You know what I mean? So was one of the wildest shits because like people always would see the good part, like you're on tour performing, but they never seen all that crazy shit that used to happen. You know what I'm saying? Had a dude time I see this dude running towards me full speed while I'm signing an autograph. And I'm like, so what is this motherfucking, what is he trying to do? I could see him from the corner of my eye. And I'm saying, wow, he want to run into me. So I could see him coming. I gave the person a paper back and, I had the man, you know what I'm saying, power slap his ass, but I'm just saying, why is this happening? You
Right.
see what I'm saying? I'm like, that's the crazy shit, man, that dudes get jealous because their girls might be acting extra stupid because, people see celebrities, man, they wilding out. And then dudes get jealous. And this has been around the world. Like different shit used to happen, man. Plenty of beefs, a lot of peace, though. A lot of peace, but it was some beefs, man. I had to throw a lot of people around, and it wasn't being no bully. It was just protection, man. It was just us protecting the crew and our whole shit. So, but anyway, man, I'm still here, so it's all good,
For
And
real,
now,
especially if you're in another country, because you don't know what's gonna go down. Like
nah,
it's not like you're on your own block or in New York or in
nah.
Texas. Yeah, you don't know. You're in the middle of France somewhere. You're in the middle of like Normandy or someplace like that.
We was in cars, man, getting away from spots after beat, and you just hear nothing but police cars, and you're over in Zurich and shit. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Switzerland, and you hear police cars, and you're like, damn. And we just had be out because it was a scrap. You know what I mean? And we were always victorious. Not like I'm trying to boast or something all that, but that's how it was when we got down. Man, shout out to my brothers who used to rock with us, then Biggest Scored and MOP and Stacks and different dudes, man. We bumpy knuckles, man. We had to hold it down like mad times, man. So it is what it is. But we still had a good time. We had a great time.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. You're right though. Like being overseas, it must be a different animal because they're like so happy to see you coming from America. It's hip hop. It's something to them that's like fresh and exciting, not something that they see every day. Well, back then, not something that they saw every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get their excitement and why they would be all adrenaline up and wilding out, but still, that's kind of wild.
I mean, what it is too is like for instance, I go on tour now. We were on tour about 3 years ago before COVID, and everybody knows the words of your songs, even the old ones. You know what I mean? So because I made like 7 albums after Gangstar broke up,
Yeah.
so there's more of a fan base that even people might be younger, but then you got people that are younger that know all the music from the beginning. So it's crazy, man. But see, I'm not a new jack with that because I've been going overseas and all around the entire world since like '93. You know what I mean? So, and it was never like 5 or 6 years of not going. There was always some time that I was going to be going. You know what I mean? And doing stuff. So um, it took me all around the world. Number one. And then like just now it's grown man shit extra. What I mean is shows is love. People are coming, man, because they look at you legendary or whatever, which is beautiful. And it's like touching. We touch so many people's lives. Even certain things I did or said, or even myself on Gangstar Records, whatever. People telling me, "Oh, I remember when you came out with this and that, and when y'all had this song." And that's just crazy, man. So you raised the generation, man. But I'm still here. I'm still here to keep pushing the legacy with my brother DJ Premier and shout out to Guru's son KC, uh, Fat Gary, and Ian Schwartzman. My man is they be pushing that history, man, that legacy. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we out here for. Rest in
And
peace, Guru.
it's something that's never. You're right. Rest in peace, Guru. It's never something that's never gonna go away. It's never gonna stop. Gangstar will forever be known. It'll be etched in the history of hip hop as one of
Mhm.
the pioneers, the top groups, the top acts, the top touring acts. And I gotta say, from me to you, thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Nah, man, listen, the beat goes on, man. You know what I'm saying? The new music, the newer music, and what's happening today. There's some shit I'd fuck with it, and then you got the boom bap and then stuff from back in the day. I fuck with all of that. You know, so as long as it is me personally, as long as I can live, I'm gonna give. That's what I like to say. So like me and Premier currently working on the album. probably about 9 songs deep. You know, we're gonna be, having a documentary and the group and some other stuff down the road, and just keep pushing it, man. Just keep as long as I can keep living. Like I said, I'm giving, so I'm here, man, to continue the legacy.
Oh, yeah. We appreciate you, bro. We appreciate you. I know
Appreciate
you want to get. I know you want to get to that game soon, so we're gonna wrap it up here in a minute.
question.
I want you to time for shameless self promotion. Give us all your plugs, where you're at, what you're doing.
My name is Big Shug. On Instagram, it's Big Shug Gangstar, one word. There's a page on it that's Big Shug Gangstar Foundation, but that was hacked, so I have no access. So you want to go to Big Shug Gangstar, one word. Twitter, it's the real Big Shug. Facebook, it's Big Shug. And even that my true government carry guy. Because you can hit me from all places as far as with messages and shit. And that's about it. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm out, and I've got like the album working on with Premier. I'm currently working on some movie coming up. And just keep this music thing going, man.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Again, man, thank you for joining us for the Hip Hop Happy Hour.
No doubt.
We appreciate you. We appreciate everything you've done for the hip hop culture. And keep pushing it, man. Keep pushing it. Keep grinding. Keep building and doing your thing, bro.
Of course. And vehicles like this, your podcast and happy hour, like that stuff keeps that thing going too, because you keep supporting it. It supports each other. It's a vehicle for people to be heard or to know. Like now, you can go on so much social media and find things out. But these podcasts, I do them because of that. It's like outreach in different directions, and maybe some who didn't know are gonna know now, and you know what I mean. So I appreciate you, like having me on the show, and man, any down the road, I got to come back after some things, and I'm gonna come back too. So just holler at me,
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Also, June 10th, Buy Back the Block initiative.
Yes, sir.
A Guru tribute. That and also a performance. It's a block party. They locked down that Dudley Station area part over there, 1 to 6, June 10th, 1 to 6 p.m. Performances by myself, Edo G, DJ Premier, and also Planet Patrol from back in the day. Play at your own risk. So that's June 10th. Come through. Let's celebrate Guru. Let's rock. We're gonna give you a little legendary taste, man. Spit some shit and come through. 1 to 6, June 10th. Be right down there at Dudley Station, Roxbury, right around that area, man, and we're gonna make it happen,
Oh, yeah. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to Gangstar. Shout out to Big Shug. Shout out to Guru. Rest in peace. And this has been the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast, man. We out.
All right. Peace. Yes, sir.